What it do, golf fans? Welcome back to the Turn Dogs Golf Podcast. This is Liam. Alongside me is Jack. Jack, we had a week in golf. Valero, Brian Harmon, winner
Great. Let's
overall.
go on to the Masters. No one cares about the Valero. Great. Brian Harmon frickin' won.
Yeah. Admittedly, everything about the Valero is automatically going to get overhyped by the fact that it is the Masters week. We're going to this little place called Augusta, Georgia, if anybody's ever heard of it. If not, you can ask Jack. He can probably give you directions just based on the way his brain works from wherever you're at in the country. I'm sure he'll figure out a way to get you exactly to Magnolia Lane. And by the way, he'll point out all the trees as you pass down Magnolia Lane and see what they're all called as well.
All 80,000 plants and 300 different varietals of flowers and trees over the course. Yeah.
Yeah. You'll be all over it. So, all right. Well, I know you want to go straight to the Masters. We do have to quickly go over Valero. Because you actually had a pretty good week, too. But again, Brian Harmon's the winner. Do you have any highlights on the week?
Yeah, that's Masters week.
Okay, got it. So nothing. Got it.
No, Valero was great. It's a good tournament. It's not my favorite tournament in the world because it's really just right before. I mean, I think you guys, if you've been with us, this is our third year now. You know that This is my life week up here. So my head did not care about the Valero. I was literally doing data research on Augusta while watching the final 4 holes. So I did a great week, though. I'll just really recap it as quickly as I can because I know no one is here for the Valero recap. Profitable in DraftKings and FanDuel and double ups and single entry. I went 5-1 on my bets, going up over 4.43 units, which brings my total to just under 8 units on the year, which is really good comparatively to where we are. It's about 7.9.
No, nice stuff. As far as my DraftKings and FanDuel, I had so many missed cuts. Definitely did not win money on FanDuel. I think my only guy to make the cut on FanDuel was Tommy Fleetwood, who shot 9 over on Sunday and finished T62. I think all of my other 4 guys missed the cut, which is ridiculous. But that just kind of describes that pre-Masters week, fluky thing that's going to happen. DraftKings, I think I just missed out on the money. I had, again, like Fleetwood, Ricky Fowler, Justin Rose, a lot of those guys who finished right around T30 to T60. So nothing fancy. On my bets, I had 3 wins, 2 losses. The wins were Fleetwood over Aubert, Bud Cauley over Tom Kim, and JT Poston over Sam Burns. The losses, I had Fleetwood top 20, who again shot +9 Sunday, so he never had a chance after that. And I had Lee Hodges top 40, who I think ended up shooting like even par at the end of the week. So he missed the cut by like a shot or 2. I think of the like 8 or 9 guys total I had amongst my lineups, 4 of them missed the cut on the number. And I was like, oh, that's lovely. We just love that for everything involved in Liam. So even with the 2 losses, I still am up 0.98 units on the week. So I'm now up 17.26 units on the year. So overall, we're up, 25 units then as a podcast? So we're cruising along. There's bumps in the roads here and there, but at the end of the week, we end up winning everybody a little bit of money.
Yeah, just for anybody new, because obviously Masters is going to be a big. Obviously, my name is Jack. It's very nice to meet you all. Over the last 3 years, I'm up just under 175 units as a pod just by myself and betting, and Liam has another good chunk to add to that. So we do not make any money from this. Absolutely free. Love of the game. There's no subscription. There's no website. Literally everything we have just for the love of the game. So if you want somebody that's literally for free, giving you basically 200 units worth of free golf in 3 years, hello.
We're the guys. We post every week that there's a golf tournament, usually on Monday night around, let's say like 11 p.m. at the latest on Monday night. So you can either watch it if you're a real night owl. You can watch it late Monday. Otherwise, we know there's a good amount of viewers that probably are listening while they're in their cars on the way to work on Tuesday morning. That's a common one as well. But we welcome any and all of them. If you're listening to us on Spotify, we are on YouTube. You can see our ugly, ugly faces. If you're on YouTube and you're like, dang, I don't have time to watch these guys' YouTube videos all the time, we're on Spotify as well. So you can listen to us on the car or while you're, I don't know, on a beach or something like that. If so, I'm jealous. But overall, that's us kind of in a nutshell. We do this setup every week. We have a DraftKings lineup, we have a FanDuel lineup, we have bets, and then we usually go into winners picks and wild cards, which is what I'm going to segue back into. How did your winners picks do last week at Valero, Jack?
They did fine. Obviously, I wasn't going to waste any of the big dogs on this week just because it's a prep of a Masters. I had Corey Connors, who finished, I want to say, 18th or 16th. I had Denny McCarthy, who finished, I think, the same position, and then Ben Griffin, who finished around 40th. Course conditions for some of those guys obviously didn't play well at. I would have never in a million years picked Brian Harmon to win by 3 shots there and Ryan Gerard to follow. And that's why we have Augusta National, which is the most predictive course on tour, which I will get into happily in about a couple minutes.
Yeah. I was in the same boat. I had Fleetwood, who finished T62. I took Keith Mitchell, who for the first like 2.5 days looked like he had a decent chance of winning the tournament. He think he shot +4 on Sunday, so he finished T12. And then Justin Rose, who finished T47. My wild card pick, I had Jordan Spieth top 10 at +280. He finished 12th, which is tough. But I'm not mad about that loss. I mean, I lost it by 2 placement points on a +280. It's going to happen. You know, it's just a tough one to have as fall. Hopefully you bet him top 20 at plus like 140 and you won money that way. So how'd your wild card do, Jack?
I had Corey Connors top 7 and ties. He finished 18th, so I wasn't really stressed about it. Ball striker's paradise, but putter for a lot of these guys was lacking. You saw that like Brian Harmon finished 3 over, Novak was 4 over and still finished 3rd. So, you know, not really too stressed. I just want to go to Augusta.
Yeah, well, let me run through this real quick. Just notable guys to miss the cut last week: Ludwig Gobert, Kurt Kitayama, Ryan Fox, Matt Fitzpatrick, Tom Kim, Max Homa, Siwoo Kim, Sam Burns, Hideki Matsuyama, Akshay Bhatia, and Alex Smalley. I would say probably half of those guys were just testing things for Augusta, so I wouldn't read too far into it. Some of the low price plays, though, that we were all over last week. I liked Aldrich Potgieter. He finished T47, considering he was 6,400, I think, on DraftKings. That's a pretty good number, all things considered. Justin Rose, who I liked, who finished T47. JT Poston finished T26. Keith Mitchell, who finished T12. And then I don't know how low priced he was, but Jack was all over him like a bad smell. Jordan Spieth, who also finished T12. Some of our misses last week. I liked Obear. Again, I think he was prepping for this week, so he missed the cut. And then Akshay Bhatia, who also missed the cut.
And just to add, because I do not put my notes in here, actually I did for this week, but I was all over Rio Hisasune, who did finish T5. I don't know if you mentioned it. I literally have been blacking out, excited.
No, I have not mentioned it because you don't put it in the notes. So there's no way for me to know when you're using those guys. So with that, we are going to the Masters. We are going to Hello Friends. We are going to the home base. I should have started the podcast saying Hello Friends. I think we did that last year too.
We did.
Well. Sorry guys. You can play it in the background while you're also playing this on whatever platform you are. So we're going to Augusta, Georgia. This is a golf course that many of you know about. If you don't know anything about it, feel free to hit up Jack. He will tell you whatever you need to know. There's very little rough at this course. Basically, it's fairway into pine straw. And almost none of the lies on this course are going to be level. You're going to have a lot of undulations of greens, bumpy fairways, things like that. So it's going to make it very tough as far as approach play and things like that, because you're going to have to hit very precise shots.
Yes. Details, which this is my area of expertise. Usually you're here for Liam to give you the course history. I'm going to cut him off, and he doesn't know I'm doing this because I'm pulling the trigger here. Everybody, just so you know, Masters is top 50 and ties make the cut. Mackenzie and Jones design. It's actually the #1 predictable course on tour. 73% of the scoring actually comes from par 5. So you're going to want to look at guys that are good on par 5s. Average score of the last 4 years relative has been about plus 1.47. So you're going to not see a ton of scores this week. 72% of your approach shots are from 150 yards plus. And then the rough is really non-penal. It's ryegrass. It's currently sitting at 1.38 inches in terms of length. It is sad that I know that. And bent grass fluctuating all throughout the course. It's ranging from 12 to 15 in the stint meter. Average range of the 4 days of tournament is going to be 7,555 yards. They actually reworked the lawn care of this year. So fairways to mitigate the length are actually being cut toward the tee box. So a lot of spin is going to be mitigated in rollout. So you're going to want to look at a lot of par 5 specialists, driver carry. Green and regulation, they have reworked the fringes in terms of the cutting. So now greens are not holding as much. 15 of the last 18 winners have all ranked inside the top 7 for green and regulation. Spinny, iron, wedge shots are all paramount to succeed, AKA why Tiger Woods has a bunch of green jackets. Phil Mickelson as well. Scrambling, average of the last 18 winners relative to field rank is 9.87, which is absolutely crazy. Augusta does not reward off-center approach shots and bogey avoidance in these scenarios as paramount, and strokes gained tee to green. The last 4 winners of Augusta, only the last 4 because that's when the metrics and the model has literally only been here for, has been strokes gained tee to green captured, have all been number 1 or number 2 when they won. Crazy.
There you go. Jack took some of my notes, so I'm going to skip through some of it. Fairways being mowed back into them, distance shortened. Yep. If numbers guy like me, the number 1 stat this week is tee to green play. There's only 2 other courses where tee to green play is more highly correlated than here at Augusta. So you want guys with good tee to green play numbers. Overall experience will play a factor here as well. Fuzzy Zeller was the last first time winner here. Guy who played this course for the first time and won. The wordings are there. We get it. But if you want to get really nerdy with me, the best performances statistically for golfers is between their 6th and 10th appearances here at Augusta. 57% of winners win in this range between their 6th and their 10th appearance here. So they also, during those years, they also tend to average a stroke better per round on average versus the field. So some notable names in this range this year. Brooks Koepka is entering his 10th year, Shane Lowry 10th year, Cam Smith 9th year, Jon Rahm 9th year, Tommy Fleetwood 9th year, Bryson 9th year, Cantlay 9th year, Xander 8th year, Corey Connors 8th year, Collins his 6th year, and so is Joaquin Niemann.
Yeah, just to even take that further, just because Augusta, like when I say this is the number 1 statistically measured course all across the tour, it really is. Last 26 Masters champions all had a top 20 finish prior to the major. 20 of the 26 had a second place or better finish in their prior major. 13 of the 26 had a prior major win. 7 out of those 13 had a runner-up in a major since 2018. You are looking at guys that have success. Fuzzy Zeller, as great as he is and as entertaining as he is with those weird glasses, he has a great course out in Louisville and Jeffersonville area. We actually played. It's wild. So look for guys with success.
Yeah, I mean, we can sit here and give you stats all day. I have another like 10 here where it's like 26 of the last 27 winners made the cut the year prior. 15 of the past 17 have a finish of 22nd or better. 19 of the last 22 were 27 or older. 14 of the last 16 had 4 more wins on tour. 14 of the last 16 also had a win on U.S. soil within 2 years. There's 10 of these, like 10 of these that I just rattled off. If you want to follow most of the metrics, your winner's either going to be Rory or Bryson. Those are that's where a lot of those metrics lead. You could argue that Scotty's the winner on a few of those as well. But it's going to point you to basically those like 2 or 3 guys, depending on how the breakdown works. But the point being is that rarely, numbers are just numbers for a reason. Some of it is also just got to be pure brain power. So with that, if you don't just want to pick Rory or Bryson as a winner, let's get into the DraftKings pricing for this week, Jack, and just kind of see what makes sense and who we're liking. We are officially in the Masters. Top 5 guys in terms of pricing are all over 10K. We have Scotty Scheffler at 12,400 to Jon Rahm at 10,400. Who are you liking the range?
Let me tell you what, number 1 for me, and this is going to be a hot topic, is Collin Morikawa. Now, I have a million stats on Collin Morikawa, and I'm going to read them to you because it's the Masters, and I don't care if this takes 4 hours. He leads all golfers in the field strokes gained tee to green in the last 3 months with an average of plus 2.6 shots relative to the field. He's 3rd in the field in strokes gained approach over the last 36 rounds, 4th in the field in strokes gained majors over the last 5 years. His average finishing placement in his career of the Masters is 16. His last 20 rounds at Augusta National, he's gained 34 3/4 shots, 1.7 pour per round. He's hit every top 20 in every calendar event in 2025, and his average placement on the year is 9.6. He's 2nd in strokes gained total, 1st in strokes gained approach, 1st in strokes gained tee to green, 9th in green in regulation, 1st in approach inside of 100, 3rd in birdie or better conversion, number 1 in birdie average, number 5 in putting, 4th in bogey avoidance. And this is the kicker for me, because in order to be successful at Augusta, it's obviously paramount you're good at the par 5s. We've talked about that. But it's avoiding the bad shots on the par 3 and par 4. It's really about maintenance. He's number 1 in par 3 scoring, number 10 in par 4 scoring, and number 12 on par 5 scoring.
He's 5th in strokes gained putting, but he has lost strokes gained putting in 7 of his last 9 starts. So that's not spectacular. But like,
He is my far and away DFS wise.
Yeah,
DFS wise, it's a
yeah,
big difference in DFS. A lot of casuals.
yeah.
Number one, because Scotty Scheffler has proven that this is a playground for him in 2 of the last 3 years, and historically has hit every single top 20 metric you could physically do. Rory McIlroy, let me just say, I am pulling for him as much as one person physically can. Maybe Spieth is the only guy I'd want to see do it more this year. Um, Rory has looked so, so much more consistent in years past. And
Yep.
now Augusta Nationals, of course, and he's talked about it. Augusta National, Pebble Beach, a lot of these high staple courses have had his number for years and years and years. This year he's come out and really smushed that. And I think this year he's really going make or break year. I'm going for it. I'm gunning for it. No pressure. I'm gunning for it. I don't care if I lose by 30, but I'm gunning for it. I love it.
Yeah, I got a lot of stats on all 5 of these guys, so I'll rattle them off real quick. Scotty Scheffler, any rust or woes that we had with Scotty to start the year is basically gone. He's gained over 7 strokes gained putting, or he gained over 7 strokes gained putting at the Houston Open. He finished T2. With that performance, he's gained with the putter in 6 of his last 7 starts. So any concerns where everyone's like, his putter, his putter, his putter, he's found the putter right now. That was really his only major weakness in the game too. So if that's solved, I mean, you're basically locking in a top 10 finish this week if he continues to just moderate with the putter. And outside of Jordan Spieth, there's nobody in the past 50 years with better strokes gained tee to green totals in their first 5 start at the Masters than Scotty. I think Jordan's one, and then it's Jordan Spieth. And then there's like 2 or 3 guys from like the 1940s and 50s who Jack probably knows, and then nobody else. And then Scotty. So he's really good. I'm sure he'll be good this week. It's just a price point thing if you can get to him. Rory, this is year 17 for Rory. And he's honestly pretty similar to Scotty when it comes to the numbers, but there's really one major difference between them. And you can put emphasis on major. Rory has some sort of like a mental block in relation to Augusta that doesn't really allow him to perform how he normally would here. But he has great form this year coming into the Masters. He won at the Players. In all honesty, he didn't look that spectacular at the Players while winning. But it's kind of great to see as far as lead up to the Masters. We'll see what's going on between his ears. It's a play you have to take with a grain of salt.
I want to cut you off because there's a lot of people that are probably in their car, luckily at a beach, that said you're crapping on Rory and he has an average finishing place with a career of like 22 at the Masters. The difference in what he's saying is the conversion of $1,500 extra on DFS that you can afford your other 5 guys.
Yes.
Liam is not saying Rory McIlroy is going to miss the cut and suck and do all this stuff. It's in relation to the other guys when building your lineup. So for anybody that's new into golf betting, DFS is a lot different than like placement or sports betting.
Yeah, it's the difference of Scotty pretty much being top 10 unless he totally forgets how to putt versus Rory being top 25, I think is probably the right number. I agree with you. Colin's a great option. 4 straight top 20 finishes, one of the best tee to green players in the world, one of the best approach players in the world. We won't go back through all the statistics. Ludwig Gobert, since his win at the Genesis, he's lost on strokes gained approach in 2 of his last 3 starts. He's also lost the same amount of times with the putter. Basically, what he did it last year at Augusta as a rookie was spectacular. But it was also his best putting performance of his career by over a stroke and a half. It's going to be extremely difficult to duplicate. Like he gained 7.5 strokes putting. I think his next best gain was a little under 6. I think the books are extremely high on Ludwig this week, whether it's DFS or betting or anything else. I just think there's way too much room for him to struggle.
Friend.
What's up?
It's called a trap, my friend.
Well, yeah, they're out trapping him, that's for sure. Then there's John Rahm, who I'll just quickly go over. There's some deep data if you want to look at Rahm's number because he's on live. But he hasn't finished worse than 9th in his 5 starts to start the season. He's gained across the boards on all stroke gain metrics in those 5 starts outside of losing around the green at Dorval in Miami. His metrics are really good. I think last year was kind of a fluky year. If you remember, he didn't play well here last year, but he had also just left for live like a month and a half prior. So I definitely think there were some head games going on with him this week. Prior to that, he had been playing spectacular. So I think John Rahm will be back into good form this year. And at 10,400, if you don't take Colin, I'd probably go with Rahm because he's good as far as the price point option wise. So, all right. Do you have thoughts on this top 3? or on the top 3 in this range?
Yeah, I mean, pricing wise, it's Colin, Scotty, Rory for me.
Okay.
I think Scotty is probably going to be number one across the board, obviously everywhere. That's why I'm prefacing Colin Morikawa DFS wise, because you saved $1,900 to spare. But if you're looking at me to be like, hey, Jack, just shut up and tell me what 3 guys I think are the best, it's Scotty, Colin, Rory for me this week.
That's fair. I think based on price point, I would probably do Colin, Rom, Scotty. But if you're talking who I think probably wins, it probably is Scotty. But I think based on price point, I would go Colin, Rom, Scotty Scheffler, and that would be my top 3. So sweet. All right, with that, let's get into the 9K range. We're starting with Bryson DeChambeau at 9,900, down to Jordan Spieth at 9,000.
Well, I'm going to talk about speed, but first off, I want to address the 2 top guys. Number 1, Bryson DeChambeau. I am on record. I'm not the biggest fan of Liv. Like I don't hate them. I'm not rooting against them. I think they're good for golf, and when it actually comes to fruition, they'll be great for golf.
Yeah.
Bryson DeChambeau did something at the U.S. Open that for old heads like me, and yes, I'm turning 27 in a week, so I'm not an old head, but in terms of golf, I love the old school. He showed me more emotion winning the U.S. Open than every other winner so far to date has shown me. He won me over more than any person can. He is a normal person that is chasing a dream, and I love it. Now, granted, he came out and he assaulted Augusta National by saying it was a par, whatever, 67, and then literally has shot 1 time under that. I think this year he really recognizes the challenge that he's going up against, missing 2 of his last 3 cuts. But he had a top 10 here last year when he started, this is important, started to introduce the bulge and roll irons. Started. Now he's had an entire calendar year of curating these irons to get as high as they physically can, get as much spin as they physically can, and everything in between. Bryson DeChambeau is also historically known as an okay putter. He has spent more time on this frickin' putting green than I physically can describe to you. Now, let me tell you something about Bryson is the thing about him, though, because Augusta National is so distance-oriented, it really negates a lot of the accuracy.
Yeah.
When he goes that far, the accuracy numbers actually expand. And that's where he gets in trouble because he tries to cut more than the golf course allows. I'm not 100% sure on what to do with him. Now, emotionally, I'd say bet him.
Yeah.
But like stats-wise, it's scary. Xander Schauffele, I think this injury is plaguing him a lot more than what is leading on, because historically-wise, I would have said at the beginning of last year at Augusta National, book him as a top 5.
Yeah.
His course history here is spectacular. He's had 1 top 15 this year. And if I take that even further, he's had 2 top 30s this year, and one of them was 30th. He is not the same as Xander Schauffele. His range of just misses has been exponential. His makes have been more minimal. It is very scary to me. I know I've been talking a lot because I have to get to Jordan Spieth. Joaquin Niemann's good too. I like him. But Jordan Spieth in the last 10 years ranks number 1 in performance at Augusta. And yes, that's over Scotty Scheffler with 2 missed cuts in his last 3. Think about how crazy that is. He has an average finishing placement in the last 10 of 24 with the missed cuts and 11 without, which is absolutely incredible. The only available metric is strokes gained in total, which he has an average of 2.23 shots per round. If you don't think that's insane at Augusta National, you're crazy. And since he's returned from that injury, I've listened to a lot of interviews on him. We talked a lot about him last week. Even Liam was like, I need to see it one more week. I need to see it. I'm pleading it to the crowd. I'm like, look, watch. And he showed it last week. Since he's returned and since he's been good, T12, T28, T9, T4, his accuracy percentage has gained 16% in the last 4 times, and his distance was only in the negative relative to the field 1 time, and that was by 0.02%. Across the board, he's 34th in strokes gained total, which is mind-blowing. I thought he would have been like 75th. He's 34th strokes gained total, 48th in both tee to green and around a green, 30th in approaches from 150 to 250. Remember that. And 38th in putting relative to the field. If you're taking a look at a guy like that with as wealth, and he played Augusta National, the best I've ever seen, and that beats Tiger Woods. When he won, that was the best 4-round performance I've ever seen in my life at a flat 9,000. you have to consider.
Or you don't. I mean, I said it last week. I was like, well, shit. If he looked good last week, I'll look into him this week. He finished T12, so this is me looking into him. He did almost all of his damage last week with the putter. He gained of these 6.5 strokes he gained tee to green last week. He gained 5.5 with the flat stick. He did lose 1 stroke on approach, so it was almost a break-even day for him on approach. But it's just not there for me. Like, I don't know what it is about Jordan with this play. It's not there consistently. I mean, gaining 5.5 strokes with the putter and then losing on approach, it's just not, like, there's too many variables week in and week out for me to want to rely on that, especially for the Masters. So I get it. I will not be going to Jordan Spieth this week. I also respectfully think his odds suck across the board. I think everybody's way high on him because he's a past winner.
It's also because it's a smaller field and the cut is 50 in ties, and 20 of them are going to be Jose Maria Olazabal, that it's going to be, gone. And so,
yeah, I just think some of the guys below him, though, are like have way better odds than he does. So it doesn't make sense. But I will talk about Bryson and Xander because those were the other 2 names I wanted to. He made the run. Obviously, Bryson made the run here last year. He finished T6, which is far and away his best result here in years. He actually gained over 7 strokes gained off the tee, which was a major factor in why he did so well. I looked into this. He actually was known to always miss left off the tee, which, if you ask Jack, historically is always a miss you don't want at Augusta. You would much rather miss right. He's actually corrected that in the last year and a half or so. So if he's not missing left anymore, that is another time that he can potentially gain 5, 6, 7 strokes gained off the tee. That is not out of the realm of possibility of Bryson. Again, he has such great distance. Do I think he's winning this week? Probably not. I hope he does. I'd love to see him win. But I think he's definitely a high floor option. Like, outside of like a Scotty who's finishing top 10, I think Bryson is all but about locked in for T20 this week, assuming that his game is up to like a standard B- Bryson game. So I think he's a good option. Xander, Jack commented he's got a weird 2025. But, I mean, if you look at his major championship history, it's kind of ridiculous. He hasn't had a finish outside of T18 at a major since the Masters in 2022.
Pause. Say that again for the people at home.
He has not had a finish outside of T18 at a major since the Masters in 2022. That's 11 straight majors, by the way, for anybody that wants the math on that one. Xander has also lost strokes gained total just 2 times in majors in his career. One of them was his first ever appearance in a major in 2018, and the other was that Masters in 2022. His finishes obviously haven't been great, but he also gained 11.5 strokes gained on approach at the Valspar, which is the best by any golfer in all of 2025. So I don't hate going to him. But again, the injuries, the overall ebbs and flows definitely make it slightly concerning. He might win. He might finish T50 this week. He has a lot of volatility, which I think makes it great if you want to, pick a high upside guy. But I think bear in mind that there is concerns over Xander, so I can see you go either way with him.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm rooting for him. I love the guy. I think he's got one of the best games from tee to green across. But it just scares me at this magnitude of event, which, to Liam's point, if you're playing a one and done or a DFS, a lot of people are going to be iffy on Xander Schauffele, and for right reason. But if you can get him, I think he's going to be a lot more under-owned than a lot of people think. So,
oh yeah.
Last thing, just 2 nuggets. Joaquin Niemann has 2 wins in his last 4 starts and 3 in his last 6. He has an average finishing placement here of 28. He's gained on approach, which is crazy, in 15 of his last 16 events. And his workability, which is a stat now, I didn't even know that, has gained 18% relative to field on the driver. So he's able to work the ball. He's gained on approach in putting and approach in 3 of his last 4 Masters in total on every single appearance over the last 4 years. He's a guy to look out for, and he's got, in my opinion, maybe the best swing in golf right now. I said what I said. Tommy Fleetwood as well. If you really ignore the final round at Valero where he was just toying around with stuff, his prior worst finish was 22nd. Oh, yeah, he hasn't had a finish worse than that since the Open in 24. So think about that. He's gained on the putter in 3 of 4 Masters. His only miss in strokes gained total was in 2017. His average finishing placement at Augusta is 30.4, and that includes a missed cut. And he's one of the best approach players in the game. Only lost strokes at Valspar, the Open, and Scottish in the last 2 years. His 2025 stats are 19th in strokes gained total, 14th in strokes gained tee to green, 11th stroke gain approach. This one caught me off guard. 23rd in putting, 37th in birding average, and top 25 in approach from 100 to 200 yards. This guy is going to be a target this week. I'm not saying he's going to win it. It'd be freaking awesome if he did. But he is a guy to really consider at 9,100.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, I like a majority of this range, not named Victor Hovland and Hideki. Pretty much anybody else in this range, I could, if you sat there and you're like, I really want to play Brooks at 9,400. I don't hate it. I mean, there's stats that'll go for him and go against him. He's in pretty good form. I respect it. Joaquin Niemann, you already highlighted. Like, he's really good, and he's got one of the best swings. Fleetwood, you just highlighted a bunch of stats on how he's great tee to green and strokes gained total, and he hasn't finished worse than T22 outside of last week since the Open. Like, there's so many guys that make sense here. I would just avoid Hovland and Hideki. Everybody else, I think, is fair game. I personally would avoid Spieth as well, but that's just me because that's how I feel. Jack would say no and to go after Spieth. All right. With that, are we dropping into the 8K range, Jack? We got Shane Lowry at 8,800 down to Robert McIntyre at 8,000.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting bets in this category as well. A lot of interesting people. Number one, I'm going to target, which is going to be a hot and controversial one, is Patrick Cantlay. Now, Patrick Cantlay is a scary one, but if you really look at his odds, look at him. You'll hear about him, I guess, in 10 minutes here. But he has done pretty well in his 4 of his last 6 Masters. Historically has struggled with the putter. He's been negative in all 4 of the captured years of shots, but he's averaging positive with the putter in the last 8 weeks. His misses in terms of weeks have been 33, 31, and 33. All across the board, he's been so consistent and so quiet. He's 15th in strokes gained total, 18th tee to green, 18th on approach, 26th with the driver, which is wild to think about. Yeah, that's a real thing. 7th in green and regulation. He's top 50 in 90% of metrics from 50 yards to 300 in approach. Wild. And he's 34th in scoring average. And this guy is consistent all the way around. He's got a good track record here at Augusta for the most part. Super consistent tee to green. I get he has no major success outside of the Tour Championship, and he struggles on Sundays. But it's a target. You can get there. Outside of that, I was very high on Hatton at the start of the year. I faded a little bit on him. The last 4 Masters, he's looked fine. Outside of that, his only negative strokes gained was in 2022, where he finished 52nd. It's not really relevant. He's hit top 30 in 21 of his last 24 worldwide starts, and 12 of those have been top 10. He strokes gained positive total in 22 of his last 24, so he's there. But it's scary. Only other guy, I mean, Cam Smith has got a crazy history there, but he's still scary.
No, that's fair. You mentioned Cantlay. He looked decent last week in Valero, but the amount of 5-footers he missed last week is arguably the most disgusting thing I've seen on the planet. He lost 2.5 strokes putting with all those 5-footers, but he's also lost with the putter in 4 of his last 5 starts. He's historically like a great putter, but he hasn't ever really been able to figure out the greens here at Augusta. He's actually lost with the putter here in 3 of his last 5 starts as well. I think he's making a cut. I don't know if he has the upside with how bad his putter's been. I mean, if he misses 5-footers like he was last week here at Augusta, he's not getting shit, respectfully. Like, he's not going to go anywhere. So he's got to figure out how to tighten up the putter and go from there. You mentioned Tyrrell Hatton. I actually liked him as well at the start of the year, but he's played in 5 live events to start the year, and he hasn't gained off the tee yet. He's also lost with the putter in 3 of those events. His form has basically been rough. He's got 1 top 19 finish on live after winning in Dubai in January. You could look at his history and be like, oh, well, he won in Dubai and he won Abu Dhabi or something like that. He's won twice in the last year, but his recent form is just not great. I can't rely on that, especially at 8,600. There's better options below him. Russell Henley, 8,400. He could be a fun option this week. He's played the Masters 8 times since 2013. He's got 1 missed cut that was in 2013. All the rest of his finishes are T40 or better, including a T4 2 years back. He is based in Georgia, so it gives him a bit of a, I don't know if you want to call it hometown. That doesn't really matter too much because it's Augusta, but he is a local boy. And in his past 3 starts this year, he's gained in all strokes gained metrics outside of losing 0.09 strokes gained putting at the Players. That's one I can live with. He's basically losing 0. So I think Russell Henley's a good option. I haven't even gotten into his approach play yet, which he generally is known as a great approach player. So I think he's a good choice this week. So is Shane Lowry's in here, right? Yeah, 8,800. I already thought, yeah. He hasn't missed a cut here since 2019. In his past 3 years, he's gained off the tee, which is a major metric on why he missed so many of those cuts back before 2019. He also hasn't lost strokes gained tee to green since the Memorial in 2024. Bear in mind, if you want that date, I think that's like the 2nd or 1st week of June. So he's played in so many tournaments since then. I couldn't even tell you on the numbers. And remember what I said when I went over kind of in the beginning? I was like, there's only 2 courses where tee to green play is more highly correlated than here at Augusta. If he hasn't lost on strokes gained tee to green since the Memorial, I think he's probably guaranteed for at least a decent week this week, assuming he doesn't, fall flat on his face somehow. So I like him at 8,800. And then Robert McIntyre, he's played the Masters twice. He's got finishes of 23rd and T12. He's a lefty, so if you want to get really fancy with it, there's some sort of fancy statistics where lefties arguably play better because of the way they shot shape and things like that, and the way they work the ball. Coming into this week, though, he has 4 finishes in the top 11 in his last 5 starts. I think he's got a chance to be best lefty this week. He's got a few guys he's got to contend with, but I think he overall is a pretty good option in this range for me.
Yeah, I don't know what his top lefty odds are. I have way too many bets, so I didn't get there.
Yeah. I haven't looked. I'll look here real quickly. Do you have anybody else? You want to go in the 7K range?
I really want to go in the 7K range.
All right, go for it. Go crazy.
Yeah, leading us off at 7,900, literally right off the bat, is Corey Connors. Corey Connors is one of my big dark horses this week. I've talked about him way too much. But since the Waste Management Phoenix Open, his average finishing placement is 11. He's got positive strokes gained approach in 23 of the last 25 rounds. He's gained strokes gained total in 21 of his last 25. The worst being minus 0.05 at the RBC Championship. So he's doing just fine. He's got 3 top 10s in his last 5 years here. His biggest weakness has been around the green. It's really, if you look at the stats on him, it's been really negative, but he's gained on that in 9 of his last 11 tournaments. So it's a really positive sign going into it. He's 23rd strokes gained total, 29th tee to green, 19th off the tee, 23rd green in regulation, 31 in approach 200 plus, 19th in 150 to 200, and 14th 100 plus flat. So this guy is a ball striker's paradise. I think with the success that he's had this year already, he's got 7 top 10s already on the year. This guy's going deep. So I love him.
Yeah, I'm high on Corey Connors too. I'll quickly go over this. On Bet365, Robert McIntyre's odds for top lefty. He is the best odds, but he's still plus 240. He's got to beat the likes of Akshay, Phil Mickelson, Brian Harmon, Joe Highsmith, Matt McCarty, Bubba Watson, and Mike Weir.
Yep.
Yeah, I like all those. So I'm happy to take him. Honestly, I think the guy that'll give him the best challenge there is maybe Phil, of all people, which I know is probably a crazy take for some people, but I mean, Bhatia has never been great in terms of majors. Joe Highsmith, first major. Matt McCarty, first major. And then Bubba Watson and Mike Weir, respectfully, you guys, are past winners, so you're great. But I don't know if I would consider them in their prime is maybe the most respectful way to say it. I'm just trying to be nice. Mike
Weir isn't even gaining distance measurement on the Champions Tour.
I was trying to be nice.
We're both left too. We love you.
Yeah. So, Jack highlighted some of the Corey Connors stats. He had a T18 last week where he gained in all statistical strokes gained metrics outside of putting where he lost under half a stroke. That basically makes 4 straight weeks of gaining across the board if you just round down that less than half a stroke to 0. He's also gained at least 7 strokes tee to green across each of those 4 starts. If he does that this week, based on statistical history, he's going to be a top 10 finisher in this tournament.
Yeah.
So,
last guy I want to highlight on Captain America, baby, Patrick Reed. This event and the Ryder Cup and President's Cup, everyone cheers for him. Outside of that, no. Patrick Reed, 2018 Masters champion, one of, if not the best short game player that I have physically ever seen in my life. Obviously, everyone thinks of Phil Mickelson or Seve Ballesteros. Phil Mickelson just pulled off Hail Mary shots, and that's why we consider him one of the greats. Phil Mickelson Patrick Reed rather, has been so consistent with short game. It's ridiculous. His average finishing placement is 25, and that includes a missed cut in 2017. It's not even relative. He set top 40 in 7 consecutive appearances here. He had T7 at last week's Live Miami, where the conditions were brutal, gaining 1.6 shots relative to the field. He's got back-to-back starts of 2.29 strokes gained total or higher, and he ranks 8th in the Masters in terms of performance percentage markers, which for a guy at, 7,300 is freaking ridiculous.
Yeah, Patrick Reed's a dog. I'm high on him too. He's statistically one of the best putters in the field at Augusta National. Since 2019, he's the 3rd best golfer with minimum 8 rounds in this field, only behind Cam Smith and Will Zalatoris, which is hilarious that he's good at putting here. Bear in mind with what I just said, that doesn't include his win here in 2018, where you can also include he gained with putter there. I mean, under 7,500 Jack's general rule. Normally it's made cut. I think here it's probably top 40, and I mean, Patrick Cantlay can easily crack, or Patrick Reed can easily crack top 40 this week. I'm also going to mention Joseph Giuseppe Seb Straka, a.k.a. Seb Straka. We haven't talked about him in a couple weeks because he hasn't really been playing very much. He hasn't played since the Valspar, but he's still been playing great. He gained on strokes gained approach in 9 of his last 10 starts. He's been one of the 10 to 15 best players on the PGA Tour to start the year, just based on strokes gained metrics. And he's also really good at avoiding bogeys, which is, I feel like, a pretty major factor this week here at the Masters. I don't think he's obviously going to win, but I think he's got easily top 30 upside. He's played here 3 times, and he hasn't finished worse than T45. So I think if you want to be slightly different, I don't think a lot of people are going to go to Seb Straka. But I think he's at a pretty good price, all things considered. I will mention last guy. I don't know if Jack likes him.
Here it comes.
Yeah, Keegan Bradley. People are probably going to see the T47 finish last week and maybe even be slightly turned off from Keegan. Keep in mind that most of the reason he struggled last week was because he lost 7 strokes with the putter. He's never done that before on the PGA Tour. I don't really see it being that bad this week. He's got a great approach play. He's solid off the tee. And the rest of his bag is gained in the last 5 starts. So I see him being a good option to go to, especially at 7,000. He's probably going to be your 5th or 6th guy. Just be happy he'll finish like T30, and you'll just coast on with a good rest of your tournament and field. So, yeah. Sweet. Anybody else in 7K?
Not really. I mean, I could spend all day highlighting these guys, but not anything I'm willing to stake on.
That's fair. Sergio Garcia is playing some of his best golf since he won Masters. Just saying. He's playing really good on Live. But I don't love the lower price Live guys. I'll tell them in all these. So we're going to keep pushing. All right. On to the 6K range. We have Thomas Dietrich at 6,900. Let's see. Who do I want to highlight on the bottom here? Oh, is that Angel Cabrera? Yes.
For everybody that doesn't know, Angel Cabrera, he got out of jail and just won a Champions Tour event last week. So I don't know what the heck is going on. He has a chance to do the craziest storyline ever. Also, Vijay Singh did withdraw from injury. But Nikolai Højgaard, what else am I going to say? Nikolai Højgaard, someone else.
There's one name. Let's not get it.
Christian Zadenhout are 2 guys I could think you can go to. But Denny McCarthy is the guy that the only guy, maybe Harris English if you get there. I don't know. But Denny McCarthy has not missed a cut this year. His worst finish is 58 at the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, where he was still consistent all across the board. That was a tough week. Outside of that, and his 45th at Cognizant, Honda Classic, he has top 20 in basically every other start across the board. Guy is notorious for being one of the greatest putters. Doesn't have a ton of Masters history here. But I think if you're looking for a guy at 6,500, a putter, that's going to carry you. You know, he's not going to win. So apologize in advance to Denny McCarthy. I'm trying to find his Masters stat right here because my notes I scribbled on. But Nikolai Højgaard did finish 16th in here while I'm looking for that, so that's one to look out for. But Denny McCarthy is 45th last year.
Yeah.
This is also 44, 40, and 38. So these guys are making the cut, and I'm talking 6,500. If he can just finish 59th with a tie on the cut line, I'm a happy guy. So
Yeah, I'll mention Phil Mickelson. It's a low bar with Liv that he's been playing, but he's been clearing it. He's got 3 top 10 finishes in his his last 4 starts. He's also gained in all strokes gained categories, except for around the green in those past 4 starts. He missed 1 cut here in the past 10 years. And don't forget, he did finish T2 here in 2023. So he's dangerous. Do I think he's probably finishing top 30? No, but I think of the guys in this range, he's one of the more likely ones to make the cut. You mentioned Denny. There's death taxes, and then Denny being good with the putter. He's probably going to lose a stroke gain off the tee just because that's what he normally does. But then he'll probably gain 4 or 5 strokes with the putter. I literally wrote here, I was like, he is likely to finish somewhere between 25th and 45th, depending on how good his putter is this week, which checks out. Bear in mind, by the way, leading up to this event, he has 5 top 20 finishes in his past 6 starts. So he's coming in on really good form. I will mention Laurie Cantor, 6,600. Jack probably will not like him this week. I can understand why. Just note he averages some of the highest strokes gained tee to green per round in the field. I'm not going to be heavily invested in him. I'm not telling you to be heavily invested in him. But if you want just strokes gained data specifically, one of your highest tee to green players based on strokes gained is Laurie Cantor. So that is a high risk, high reward upside play at 6,600. I would highly recommend though just dropping $100 and taking Denny instead.
Yes, I would recommend that. I will tell you why in 2 minutes.
Yeah. So all right, Jack. With that, let's get into DraftKings and FanDuel.
Oh shoot, yeah, forgot about that.
That's kind of important. I have your lineup, so I can go through them now. You're starting with Colin.
Yeah, I know. I was looking at bets. Colin Morikawa, 10,500. He's my outside of Scotty and Rory is my click to win this week. I actually have him in as a winner's pick for betting without Scotty and Rory. Because I think those are the 2 big dogs, which is good. I have Jordan Spieth at 9,000. I think experience is paramount here. And I think even if he doesn't go out and win, I think he's going to make a cut and probably push the top 30 benchmark, which I'm happy about. I have Patrick Cantlay, 8,700, been so consistent all across the board this year. I think he's finishing. If I can get 6 for 6 on cuts, I know I'm making money. Corey Connors, 7,900. I think that's so mispriced. It's not even funny. Patrick Reed, 7,300, one of the best short game players of all time and has tons of experience here. And then Denny McCarthy, 6,500. Now, granted, I don't think he's going out and winning this week, but if he can sneak by a cut and just putt not like crap, I think we're in for a good week from him.
Yeah, I get it. I have some similar names on my DraftKings. I start with Jon Rahm at 10,400, and then I go straight to Bryson at 9,900. I've got Robert McIntyre at 8,000. Actually, I put Robert McIntyre because I misspelt it, so there's an R in there. I promise, Jack. I have Corey Connors at 7,900, Patrick Reed 7,300, and then Denny at 65. I think Patrick Reed and Denny are just way too mispriced for them not to get a lot of action from people. So I think that they're going to be good choices this week.
Yeah, my FanDuel's honestly outside of one person, the exact same. Colin 12,100. I have Joaquin Niemann 10,800. Jordan Spieth 10,300. Corey Connors 9,800. Patrick Reed 9,100, and Denny McCarthy 78.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat. A lot of similar names for me. I started with Colin though in this one. I have Colin at 12-1, Jon Rahm at 11-8, Bryson at 11-4, Patrick Reed at 9-1, JT Poston at 7-8. I didn't highlight, but I think I'm also pretty high on him, all things considered, in the 6K range compared to the other options. And then Denny McCarthy also at 7-8. All right, if you didn't want to listen to the last 15 minutes where Jack just went through his 18 bets, what I'm going to do is I'm going to post a screenshot of the Excel page of his bets. It's just going to go in the middle of us. There was way too much information for all of it. So if you're interested, just skip ahead. You're going to see the doc, especially if you're on the on YouTube. Just skip to where you see the nice big Excel sheet with all of Jack's bets, because otherwise you're going to get like 10 to 15 minutes here of just the most meticulous Jack-styled Masters data on the planet. So be advised. So here is your spreadsheet. Bing. Okay. All right. So, all right, Jack, what, 15, 20 bets?
We have 18 this week. And
okay.
Before I say anything, for anybody that is new and is tailing our bets, I get a lot of messages saying, where's the plus 700s? I want to make money. Those will come in like 10 minutes. So hold your horses. I bet safe and I make a lot of money. So feel free to tail along. Colin Morikawa, top 20 is minus 165. I guarantee by Thursday morning that's going to be minus 365. I've already mentioned 100 of his stats. So if you fast forwarded too much, go ahead and rewind like 10 minutes and listen to Colin Morikawa. Yep. I have Joaquin Niemann, top 30 at minus 180. He's got wins in 50% of his events over the last 6. He's gained an approach in 15 to 16, average finishing placement of 28.25 at the last 4 Masters. That's a green light for me with experience. Patrick Reed, who Liam just hit on, exactly so. Good bet to make it top 40 is minus 165. He's a former champion. He's gaining all across the board in back-to-back starts. Hit top 40 in 7 consecutive Masters. I love that bet. Tommy Fleetwood, top 30 at minus 170. He has an average finishing placement of exactly 30, and that includes a missed cut and a miss of 33 and 36. Oh, poor guy. He's doing just fine. I love the experience. I have Jordan Spieth, top 30 at minus 170. Again, over the last years, he literally ranks #1 in performance, and that includes over Scotty Scheffler, who has won twice in the last 3 years. That's just absolutely crazy. When he makes the cut, he has an average finishing placement of 11 and 24 when he misses. And I think since he's returned from the injury, he's even better of a golfer. I get the concern from Liam where he wants to see more, but I'm pulling the trigger on him. Cam Smith, top 40 is minus 190. He has never missed a cut at the Masters. He has an average finishing placement of just under 21. He's hit this in 6 of his last 8 Masters. His only metrics he has lost in any of his starts, he lost 0.01 strokes gained putting in 2021, where he finished 10th, and minus 0.69 shots off the tee, where he finished T3 in 2022. And he's hit top 40 in his last 10 worldwide starts. Patrick Cantlay is top 30 at minus 140. He's hit this number in 4 of his last 6 Masters. Talked about the putting woes, but if you're giving me 30 placement points in an event, historically, bear with me, historically, it's not the strongest field. It's the greatest field. It's not the strongest field in terms of putting. So even though he has woes, he should be able to hit top 30. And his misses in any of his last starts, he's got 11 of 14 inside top 30, have been 33, 31, and 33 alike. So he's doing just fine. My favorite bet of the entire field is Corey Connors, top 30 at minus 115. Literally since Waste Management, he's got a finishing placement of 11. His strokes gained positive and approaching 23 at 25. Strokes gained total of 21 out of 25. He has 3 top 10s in his last 5 years here. He is incredible. I absolutely love it. Brooks Koepka, top 30 is minus 150. He's kind of got a master slump. Let's just put it out there. I don't know what he's doing to fold his bed in the morning. It's due to putting concerns. He's lost in 3 of his last 5 Masters. Putter is just crazy, but approach and around the green numbers have drastically increased since his last Masters performance. He's hit top 30 in 7 of his last 9 events. He has a career finishing placement of 30, and that includes his 2 missed cuts, which if you know anything about a missed cut, that's crazy. And he's got strokes gained around the green in 9 of his last 10, and plus 4 strokes gained total per round in his last 3 events. So I think he's gearing up. Tyrrell Hatton, top 30 is minus 130. His last 4 Masters have looked pretty good. His only negative in terms of strokes gained is in 2022, where he finished 52nd. I said it's not really the most relevant. Since then, he's hit top 30 in 21 of his last 24 worldwide starts, 12 top 10. Deep breath. Now, here's some ones that you will be able to figure out and make or lose some money by Friday. My only made cut bet, which I could have 1,000 of these, is a Corey Connors, Patrick Cantlay, and Patrick Reed made cut parlay. It's plus 145. Patrick Reed has never missed the Masters, and he has a 100% cut rate in his last 2 consecutive years. And I want to make sure that everyone knows I know Liv doesn't have cuts. So regardless if it's inclusive or exclusive of Liv, he's made 100% of his cuts in majors, Asia Tour, and DP World Tour. Insane. Corey Connors has 5 of 6 Masters where he made the cut. He 1 missed cut in his last 25 events, which was in Hawaii. Couldn't be farther from a comp. We're all good there. Cantlay has made 5 of his last 7 Masters, and he's got 1 missed cut in his last 25 events, which was at the Memorial where he's battling an illness. So all things considered, if you're giving me 1.5 to 1, basically, I'm taking that to the bank. Sorry, Liam. Laurie Cantor to miss the cut is plus 120. He's a Masters debutant, which has really not been fortuitous recently. He has not made a cut on U.S. soil since May of 2022, where he hit it on the number. He has lost with the putter in 19 of his last 25 events, lost in strokes gained approach in 17 of his last 25, Lost strokes gained around the green in 9 of his last 21 captured. If you add under 0.5 for the year, you add 11 more. So it's 20 out of 21 have had less than half stroke or worse. He is also a penetrate and roll of the irons, which is why he has a ton of success strokes gained approach in the DP World Tour, because he's able to penetrate and grab those really sandy greens. This one, it's going to be really negative. He's going to miss a lot of greens. There's going to be a lot of rollout. That's plus 120. Brian Campbell to miss the cut is minus 150. If I could put my house on this, I would. I don't have a house. That's why I can't. He's a Masters debutant. He's missed his last 3 cuts in 4 of his last 6. He's lost strokes gained total in 13 of his last 25. This is the crazy stat. Everyone sit down. He has not gained a single point, and it's 0.000000001 or higher on any distance measurement in any professional golf event he has ever played. How is that possible? He is 96th in percentile for shortest hitter on any professional golf circuit. Think about that. Any professional golf circuit, excluding the Champions Tour. I don't know how that's possible. He has lost 18 distance points or more in 16 of his last 27 starts. He is also not a great putter, which means his irons are going to have to be on another planet of good, and he's currently lost with his irons on the last 3 of his 4. He is 79th in strokes gained total, 118 tee to green, 178 off the tee, 242 in driving distance, 92 in green regulation, 186 going for the green, 108 in birdie percentages, 103 in scoring average, 156 in par 5, 107 in bogey avoidance, and the only metric he ranks in the top 50 on in the PGA Tour is strokes gained inside of 100 yards. Oh yeah, and that's minus 150. Money. Nick Dunlap to miss the cut is also minus 135. I apologize to everybody at home who does like Nick Dunlap. He did miss the cut horrifically in his last Masters appearance. He is losing 0.82 strokes gained per round. He lost 1.33 putting and 1 around the green here. He's also missed a cut in his last 3 starts, all while losing strokes gained off the tee in 11 consecutive events. He's gained on accuracy in only 5 of his last 25 rounds. He's also never made a cut in a major. The only measurements that I have on the board, and I'm going to read through it, so Liam, I apologize in advance and for everybody at home that gets tired of me talking. 148 strokes gained total, 171 tee to green, 186 off the tee, 115 in accuracy, 115 in driving distance, 183rd in driving accuracy, 94th green and reg, 101 in scrambling, 99 in putting. Not really good for Augusta. And 15% of his holes end in bogey or worse. And that does not include Masters. So that's bad. Almost at the end, ladies and gentlemen. We are not done yet. We have some nationality bets. Corey Connors beating the top Canadian, beating Taylor Pendrith, Nick Taylor, and Mike Weir. Taylor Pendrith is a Masters debutant. He's an awful putter and an awful around the green player, which is Augusta National bread and butter. Taylor missed a cut in his last Masters and is basically lost in every statistical category. He's not a great putter and not a great around the green player. He's also lost in distance in 24 of his last 25. Mike Weir, I absolutely love you, but you've missed the cut in the Masters in 12 of your last 14 tries. And when you did make it, you finished 44 and 51, and you lose distance on the Champions Tour. You're not going to cut. I'm sorry, big guy. Joaquin Niemann being the top South American is minus 165. He has to beat Nicolas Echevarria, Johnny Vegas, and Miguel Cabrera. Echevarria is a Masters debutant. He's a really, really solid putter. His around the green play is horrific, so he has to be good at putting. He's also a horrible distance player. His approach number is negative in over 50% of events. Johnny Vegas has missed a cut in 2 of his last 3 Masters. His last Masters was in 2018. Awful putter, awful around the green player, an awful approach player in his last 7 events. He has not gained more than 1 strokes gained total in the continental U.S. since the 3M Open. And Miguel Cabrera just got out of jail, so no. Last 2 bets here. Corey Connors over Sergio Garcia's minus 115. Sergio Garcia's on a frickin' heater at LIV. He's got 3 top 5s in his last 4, including a win. But since his Masters win, he has 5 missed cuts in 6 tries. His only made cut is T23, where Corey Connors has done that every single time. And then Patrick Reed over Sahith Theegala's minus 115. I don't know if it's his girlfriend on social media, I'm not going to blame you. Sahith Theegala has been all over the place in every stretch of the word. He's losing accuracy in 9 of his last 10 starts. He's hit top 20 in one event in 2025, and he's lost strokes gained approach in 5 of his last 7 starts. You can't come to Augusta National with woes. That's just the reality of it.
Now I'm up. Great, Jack. We love those 18 bets. I am actually following a few of them because you took so many bets, and there's only like 75 golfers in the field, so I needed to find bets to use. So unfortunately, I think you and I are tailing on a few cases. The ones we're tailing on, I have Joaquin Niemann as the top South American at minus 170. I have Corey Connors as the top Canadian at plus 105. So we both agree that those two are going to win amongst their fellow countrymen. I have Ludwig Aubert at 18th or worse at minus 120. I feel pretty good about that. All things considered, he's just not been playing great. And again, I don't see him doing that well with the putter. I have Bryson DeChambeau over Ludwig Aubert at minus 120. Again, I think you are basically betting on the high side of Ludwig. I think you got low.
Just to add, I love your Ludwig Aubert bet on both sides. Ludwig Aubert, since Hawaii, has won 1 time. Outside of that, has not finished inside of the top 20 of an event and has withdrawn once and missed 2 cuts.
There you go. And some of that is injury related, so there's probably a few asterisks you can throw in there. But I just think Bryson DeChambeau has such high upside this week, and I think Ludwig is probably at what'd you call it earlier, where he's a trap?
He's a trap.
I think he's a trap. So I'm high on that bet at minus 120. I have Cam Smith over Victor Hovland at plus 120. I don't know why Victor is so high this week. I've tried to dig into that. I couldn't find a thing. I have Keegan Bradley over Tom Kim at minus 110. Tom Kim is one of the shortest hitters in terms of driving distance on tour, and that'll hurt him this week. And then I have Cam Smith 31st or better at minus 120. So those are my 7 bets. Just for the sake of uniformity, I will also throw my 7 bets here just to make it fun and uniform. Ding. All right, cool. Jack, on to wild cards. Tell me why you have 17 wild card winners.
I have a lot of wild cards. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them. 4 of them are ladders, which means you bet multiple guys in multiple placements. So I have Corey Connors, who I've already spent too much time on in both top 20 and top 10, because he says top 10 in 3 of his last 5, at plus 190 and plus 500 respectively. I have a Patrick Reed ladder of top 20 and top 10 at plus 210 and plus 550. I have a Cam Smith ladder at top 20 and top 10 of plus 190 plus 450. And a Robert McIntyre ladder of top 10 and top 5 at plus 400 and plus 900 respectively. Bet small units. You don't have to do these, obviously. And then my standalones are Colin Morikawa top 5 at plus 330. I honestly think he has a really good shot at winning. And then Keegan Bradley top 20 is plus 260. I love Keegan Bradley. He is so consistent all across the board. He's got a sweet mustache, and that's why I'm rooting for him.
Yeah, so I thought about doing Laurie Cantor top 30, but honestly, his odds suck, so we're not even going to do that. It was like plus 175 for him to be top 30, which I thought it would have been like plus 300. So we're not going to go to that. I thought about doing Eric Keegan top 20, but I'm not copying Jack's wild card at top 20. So instead, I'm going to do Russell Henley top 10 at plus 350. I went over him earlier, so I'm not going to do it all again, but I think his iron play alone might carry him to a good finish this week. So, all right. And then, Jack, we did pre-year winners, and then we did our top 3 we think are going to win, which we each took different guys. So who are your 3 pre-year winners? Who are the 3 you like right now?
Yeah, my 3 winners, one was Colin Morikawa, and I locked him at 18-1, and somehow he's still 18-1. It doesn't make sense to me at all. I love it. I did have Jordan Spieth at 40-1. I did lock him in, I want to say, at like 60-1 since then. Something to that. Oh, sorry, I lied. 28-1, and now he's 40-1. And then I have Terrell Hatton, who I locked in at 50-1, who is now 60-1 in terms of the odds.
That's fair. And then who do you like? Who do you like this week?
I really want to root for Rory. I would love to see him complete the career Grand Slam. So I have him. Best odds I found were 6.75-1, basically plus 675. I have Corey Connors at 75-1, which I think is atrocious, and then Patrick Reed 100-1. Granted, he isn't probably going to win, but if you're talking about the weather that's incoming and this guy's a short game wizard and awesome with the wedges, the scoring could be in his favor, and I'm kind of banking on that.
Yeah, I mean the winner, if the weather's real bad, might win at what, 10, 12 under in
Could be.
theory.
Could
Yeah,
be. I
that'd be
hope.
dangerous. It'd be dangerous. All right. For my pre-year, I had Xander Schauffele. I don't have his odds. Brooks Koepka, don't have his odds either. And then Sung J M, don't have his odds either. If you want their current odds, Xander's 22-1, Koepka's 32-1, and Sung J's 140-1. But then the three guys I like this week, just based on the fact that it's likely going to be a guy in the top 30 in the OWGR, I took three names. I have Bryson, who I got at 17-1, Joaquin Niemann, who I got at 30-1, and then Shane Lowry, who I like at 32-1. So not a lot of big winners in terms of like an 800-1 type of winner that would win. But this is the Masters, and I want a winner this week. And I think with this setup, either Jack or I are getting a winner. So
Yeah, unless Scotty wins, that's literally the only option if we don't.
yeah. If Scotty wins, then congratulations to Scotty, and somebody who had a ticket at him at plus 350 to one, or plus 350 can take that all the way to the bank and feel really happy about it. But I'm not too worried about that one. So, all right, I know this is a long episode. This is the Masters. We get a lot of new listeners right around this week because everybody wants to figure out what's going on at the Masters. So I hope everybody enjoyed it. If you do, drop a follow. That would be really nice. That's again, no payment scale. So like dropping a follow and come back every couple of weeks lets us know that you guys are interested in this and we'll continue to do it. But that's really the best way to go about doing it. Just drop a follow, drop a like. All of that is really appreciated. Jack, we have Masters this week. We got the par 3 contest on Wednesday. We got golf starting Thursday morning. All of the work from home people will be ecstatic because
I took off work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday because I'm a degenerate.
well, you could be Jack and take off work a couple days this week. But if you work from home Thursday, Friday, congratulations. You get some great time to watch golf. But with that, we'll leave you to it. And we will see you next week for the RBC Heritage, unfortunately. Masters will be over come next Monday, and Jack might shed a tear on the podcast because of how sad he'll be at that point in time. But if Rory wins, he'll be happy. Or Speed. But we'll figure it out.
As long as they don't play that Noah Kahan intro song, whoever that is. Noah Kahan, what's his name?
It's Noah Khan. Yeah, Noah Khan. All right, we're leaving you guys to it. It's been an hour and 10 minutes. Sorry in advance. Have a good one. Peace.